mighty Avenger battles to save Earth and all the 9 realms from a shadowy enemy that predates the universe itself in Thor: The Dark World.
I'm Natalie Portman, and you're about to see a scene from Thor: The Dark World.
After all this time, now you come to visit me, brother. Why? To mock. I need your help.
A big part of Thor's backstory and who he has become has to do with the sacrifices that he has learned to make. It's the key to the power of Thor. How would you describe where he's at now?
We left the first film with him being the arrogant young teenager, cocky and brash, and in much need of some humility. And he kind of, began to learn that. And by this film, we see a more mature Thor, who now is battling with the responsibility of potentially being, the sort of stepping up to the throne. There is a little more tragedy in this film than I think we've seen in the past, and it was nice to have some sort of meaty drama to dive into.
What's gonna happen?
I gave you my word.
It was so great that, obviously, that they reunite, but also that you see that she doesn't just accept him with open arms when he comes back.
But I wish I could trust you. If you did, you'd be the fool I always took you for.
How do you make a villain so lovable?
I don't know. It's always news to me when you say that, but it's thrilling.
I felt that way ever since the first Thor film. Even though you are the villain, we still love you just as much as the superheroes.
Thank you. It was really Ken who was the first person to say, Loki needs to have an engine of relatable human emotion that drives his villainy.
You must be truly desperate to come to me for help.
If we do nothing, they will destroy us.
He's one of those villains that's really you love to hate, and you hate that you love him too. It's weird. And he does such a great job. And so the music for him, it's not just like bad guy music. It's alluring. It's a bit seductive. He's clever, and you kind of root for him. And so the fact that Thor and him team up, I think the audiences are going to go to bananas for. I loved it as just a fan of the movies myself.
Thor, your bravery will not ease your pain.
Only in a superhero film do we love the villains just as much as the superheroes. But what drew you to Malekith?
Firstly, that he was the villain. It's always the greatest part. It's a great part in a film to say at the end of your career that you played a villain.
When we were working on the first movie, the Walt Simonson run of the Thor comics was a great inspiration to us. And he created Malekith in that run, and we didn't think there was room in the first movie for him, but when we were told we're going to have an opportunity to do another movie, he was absolutely the first choice.
Unlike other Marvel films, Thor doesn't really take place, the majority of it doesn't take place on Earth. It's in a completely different universe. So what did that Alan Taylor vision of Thor look like?
Wow, it's so great to hear those words, Alan Taylor vision. I loved the first movie and loved the ensemble he launched, Ken Branagh, and the themes that he launched. The thing I wanted to get my hands on was the way the world looked and the way, as a result, the world felt. It had to be epic, it had to be awesome, but I wanted it to feel tangible and textured. And the Asgardians are a superior race, but leaves still blow across the floor, and it sometimes snows, and when you get hurt, it hurts, and when you're in the mud, you get muddy, and so we're trying to bring that to life.
You even think about betraying him?
And I'll kill you. That was from New York.
I like her.
There are so many things to be excited for when you return to this Thor series and to the Marvel world, but I'm curious, of your huge list of things, what is on the top of your list?
On a movie of this scale that has this kind of craftsmanship, and you see all the sets and the costumes and the visual effects, you just know you're part of this really large creative team making something together.
I'm a fan of Marvel, I'm a fan of comic books, and I'm a Thor fan, so there's no number one.
I think it is that it is finding whatever it is that's new. I mean, I love that Chris and I really shared that coming into this. We wanted who wanted to take it on, to develop it, to evolve it, do something different.
This time around, you know, we didn't want to repeat anyway what we had done in the past.
We'd been antagonists for 2 films. To bring them together in the way that they come together in this film was really fun.
On this film in particular, the cast had worked together before. The camaraderie amongst the cast, particularly between Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, has evolved to the point where you do feel it on set. They have such fun together that it's almost like they're brothers in real life.
We're running out of time.
The very fabric of reality will be torn apart.
We take it seriously, everybody at Marvel Studios, the responsibility of shepherding these characters to the big screen, and the fact that audiences have responded to it the way they have has been amazing and sort of keeps us going.
The people who run the company are fans themselves. Like, they're there because they love it and they're obsessed with it and they know more about it than anyone. They've read all of the comics. They are really like, this is their dream job and they love it.
I'll find a way to save us all.
I love Marvel films because there is a little bit of sparkle and magic and some sense of humor in every film. Is this something that you feel while you're on set in production?
Yeah, definitely, and especially with this, you know, having a shorthand with everyone and the anxiety of, you know, well, what are we attempting to launch here is lessened. There was a relief that came with that and a familiarity and a shorthand with everybody.
It has changed our lives in many respects. It's given us experiences we've never had, and it's amazing to stare across the boat and say, how are you doing? It isn't, you know, to feel like it's been a roller coaster in some respects, and it's nice to share that.
I think it's great that it has that variety of tone. There's something for everybody in the film. You get the action, you get the stunts, you get the conflict and the darkness, but you get humor.
I think people relate to the parental part of this film. Thor and his parents, I mean, there's a lot happening there, but that relationship, and it started in the first film, is really complex and interesting. And it's a coming-of-age story.
I want to think it's the characters. I want to think it's the fact that not only do we provide big spectacle and big action and a reason to sort of come out to the movies, but the characters, as they existed in the comics for years and years, are incredibly engaging and incredibly entertaining. And the casts that we have, we've been very lucky that they can bring them to life in an unbelievably iconic fashion.
2, 1, action!
This is why I got into acting, was just sort of the make-believe of it all, and this is the most heightened version of that. You know, to be on these sets with these costumes and be playing out these kind of situations is like being a big kid again. It's a lot of fun.
I still wake up every day wondering why I'm not a superhero.
No, you should just get a cape and a hammer and you'll be one.
All yours.
Anyone else?